it'll be about 10 hours by the time that this game is finished. So they've had a lot to do. And it's been a sort of good expedition of some of the exhibition, even of some of the different teams that you see in the EU region, and Kugana, of course, a special guest. Right now, out of We Have Og, at least, we have a couple of new signings as well. Chubbs and Krems, the two tanks, are also very new, as Midna and Shrompy left We Have Og at the end of Contenders Trials. And choose Money Cruise been for quite some time. Playing two very different styles, and already We Have Og is taking all of the space.
Yeah, We Have Og just rolling out with conventional, good old-fashioned goats comp. They've got the Moira there just to provide some extra support. And instantly, you see the swaps coming out from the opposing side. Hughes Money Crew deciding that they don't want to just try and play what they had before. That they're going to be playing far. Alright, Sombra and Wrecking Ball to try and sort of smash that off the point. Looks like they're going to go for an early engage. Try and get the hack onto the Reinhardt, but it looks like Zariel was just to save him just in time, so he will continue surviving. But Zeal is going to be building up super fast on this barrage. They've got to be super careful. So sure, they take the point early, but that isn't what matters in these comps. It's who wins this going to determine so much. Hack goes onto the back line. Again, slowly building his way up towards a few ultimates. Moira, though, almost there herself, as Kanga almost has that coalescence available.
They've just sort of taken their time and trying to find an avenue to push it. Barbecue going in with the Wrecking Ball, but it's taken out by Zergior with the CC to stun him out. Barrage again coming out fairly early for Zeal, but it's taken out Kanga. Most importantly, taken out whilst he has the coalescence. So the two ultimates that We Have Og have on their side, both those players have been eliminated and are running back from spawn now. So slowly but surely we're starting to see We Have Og being able to sort of win this one out. But it did look a bit dicey considering some of the ultimates that they had that weren't being able to be used.
Yes, Huge Money Crew can just bring this fight back straight away. Zeal actually finding a kill onto Krem. Mouse does go down on the back line. Hammond goes in, but just gets caught up, sort of stuck by Zergi there, just can't make his way out. And as a result, well, the kills start coming through. We Have Og continues on with this hold. They're just sort of well, it's basically almost as if Huge Money Crew are just sort of falling for the bait, right? They're jumping too far in, engaging a little bit too hard, and they're getting punished for it by this Goats comp.
And the fact that they're just Chubbs can keep the shield up to protect from Zeal, who is kind of not going on any flank, he's sort of staying in the same spot. Now he's going to go in, the MP comes in with the Wrecking Ball, some mines placed down, but again, no eliminations until Chubbs gets knocked on through them. Are they able to take the point either? It doesn't look like it, but they're trying to bully and outmuscle We Have Og, who have just dedicated a sound barrier to keep themselves in the fight.
Yeah, Graviton Surge comes through as well during that fight. Monkey bringing that one out, not resulting in too many kills. Now Zeal has the barrage, has the position to do it, has the safety to crucially turn this into a bunch of kills. And it looks like finally, at the last gasp, they will be able to take this point. So now they have the advantage. They have the defender's advantage. They will be able to play with this fire out, will be able to set up this Sombra, and maybe now they can sort of put a stymie on the bleed that's been happening so far.
But 99% they have no room for error, so it's more of a case of whether We Have Og are going to build up ultimates. Mikey A does get knocked off the map, but a Graviton wouldn't go amiss in this situation, and he has all the time in the world to charge it up if he wants. So it's a case of whether We Have Og are going to change up their lineup or just sort of wait out having ultimates. Because if they say wait for having that Graviton, get it, and it doesn't really amount to much, then that is a lot of time wasted. So it looks like they're going to keep to this composition, stay disciplined with their game plan, and try and break on through. But it's going to be difficult with that Farah just getting free real estate on from the sky.
Almost gets the boop onto the D-Whip, but she just managed to survive. But Zeal's done a great job here, using the boop off on the Zarya. Has bought them enough time to build up one or more of these barrages. He's going in, looking for kills, managed to get one, doesn't find the second though. Moira just surviving. Kanga living on the skin of his teeth at the moment. Does have that coalescence available. We do see a minefield deployed on the point, but they all get clumped up. They're all sort of stuck around the middle pillar. No one's falling for those. And as a result, We Have Orcs just muscled their way onto the point here. It looks like they might just be able to clear this one up. Lucio trying to do the stall, but he can, but Kanga just grabbing him up with that Moira DPS should be enough to help finish things off here. And now we have the last minute still. We have desperation happening. Kolsky reaches the point, is getting smashed around by the Reinhardt Mallet, though has to bounce all the way out just to safety. We have almost there, almost have flipped the point back, and this is looking like it's going their way more and more.
It's frustrating how they're sort of petering out bit by bit, and now we do see We Have Og being able to take the point and clearing them up one by one. It wasn't even like a full sort of win out, it was just that this Goats comp outlasted what She's Money Crew wanted to do. They just chipped in one at a time, eventually lost a point. I mean, Zeal has been alive all this time and hasn't really had the impact to be able to get those picks, but hasn't died either, so it's just sort of existing around the objective, hence why it's been stalled out so successfully. Forced to use Money Crew, but they're not going to be able to take it, as those tanks are going to be so difficult to move when you Kanga just healing everybody up on Moira.
Sound barrier does come out. Mikey has swapped to the Tracer for a while, catches the Mercy before she can get the res as well. That's going to definitely help stop some of this still come through. There comes the barrage, but just gets annihilated. Mikey even tries to go for the stick on the spinning hammer. He's just being as irritating as humanly possible there. And there we have it. We have Org managing to finish this one out. Gardens rather, resulting in a bit of a brawl, but it does eventually go We Have Org way, showing off that the Goats comp, well, definitely still has its place on that map.
It has its place everywhere, doesn't it, really? It's one of those competitions that is universal and all-encompassing, and that tends to be quite scary for competitions and metas in Overwatch, that you can just run it all of the time. But it is a solid start for We Have Org. They've just ran that strategy. It gets a lot better for them now, as Control Center is where you tend to see the tanks rack up, but it is also where we're going to see Shoes Money Crew using the same strategy against them, with different changes. Actually, Mikey A is going to be bringing out the Mei, Zergy on the Doomfist, and I do want to definitely highlight how Zergy plays Doomfist in this regard, because it's crazy.
Yeah, he is on a trackball. He's a young lad as well. Like, he's a young human being, but he's also got a trackball, and it's just something phenomenal to watch. You think that, you know, oh, when I first said, oh, he plays the trackball, he must be a support player. No, he plays very, very agile heroes, and he just spins around like crazy. It's sort of nuts to see. Unfortunately for We Have Org, it's not really working out for them by the looks of things. The Maywall not quite getting the results that it wanted here. Shoes Money Crew is opting to move straight for the points, and no one getting caught up and trapped. And as a result, they just managed to muscle their way through. Conventional floats, I suppose, as this is Goats with a Zenyatta, and he does float along with the team, just muscling out what We Have Org has managed to produce so far.
No significant ult charge on the side of Shoes Money Crew even, sorry. All the long names to this, probably won't make for it feel it's so bad, but the Maywall out to sort of block the team, but the Lucia speed boost was able to get and keep Shoes Money Crew all together nice and compact, that they're able to fight off multiple forces from each side. Even the Mei freeze in the Reinhardt was able to survive, but now completely cut off, and now the picks are starting to go through for We Have Org.
Yeah, the Maywall was just perfectly positioned there, split Kolsky off, and once that happens, well, the focus just completely goes onto him. As a result, We Have Org just going to be finishing this one up, no problem. Izzy trying to play what turn he can on the Lucia, but that's just not going to be enough. Maybe they can even convert this into another kill. No, Zerg gets a bit too greedy. He goes for the Zenyatta, but he just nips around the corner. He's fine. And now Zergy's out of the fight. Choose Money Crew with a slight opportunity here to perhaps get something done, but they've got to be careful of that Mei.
They also have so many ultimates on either side, so this could be a really heavy, dedicated fight with all of the engagements. Graviton gets used, Rally, Transcendence. Here we go, lots of ultimates used.
May Blizzard does come out as well, but I think it got eaten there. I didn't see it deploy. Maybe that's just a visual bug for me, but down goes the Doomfist into the backline as well. Zergy tries to do what he can, but just gets caught out, stunned up, and killed. Maywall splits off most of the team, but it's really just protecting the offensive team at the moment. The Shoes Money Crew now just muscling their way through. Nanoboost goes onto this area. A lot of ultimates coming out to try and convert this fight back, but it might just be a losing battle here. They might be throwing good money after bad at the moment. There's now Zarius on the back foot. Krems has to back up, has to try and not die as well. If he does lose all this charge, it's going to be huge. Looks like he will just survive, maybe, but it's looking really dicey at the moment.
And they still even have ultimates to dedicate. They have the sound barrier if they need it, and also Graviton to hold them by the door. So Shoes Money Crew not having to use and dedicate a lot of ultimates. Another Graviton brought in, but the sound barrier keeps everybody alive. Even the Earthshatter doesn't quite get as much as they were hoping for. The Tri-Spit now has the Transcendence, so Shoes Money Crew very disciplined in keeping their ultimates and surviving a deadly onslaught coming out of Shoes Money Crew. Yeah, We Have Org, sorry.
It's been a long day, don't worry. We've got a lot of names that are sort of 3 words in a row. It's very easy to mix them up. Graviton Surge comes through. It's a good one as well. Manages to catch a number of people. Down goes Kanga and Chubb straight away. And again, if you've lost that Reinhardt, you're not going to be able to push, especially into a comp like Ghost. And you can see they are just pushing it all the way to the spawn door. They don't even want to let them out the door. They're trying to farm them right there. They do have to respect the Mei. They have to be very careful of that one. Mikey A does have that Blizzard available to it.
And they've got a lot of backup plans in case they need them, but they're going to be played aggressively, making sure it's so difficult for We Have Org to be able to touch the point. And it's a bit of a scrappy fight, and they managed to touch it in the nick of time. The Tri-Spit having to dedicate the Transcendence just to keep people together, but that Mei Blizzard is going to freeze up Kolsty, but he manages to get out because of the Zarya shield.
Yeah, they managed to get Mikey A, who just made a beeline straight for the point there. They knew they had to get someone to touch it before, like, they ran out of time, literally. So they managed to do that at the very least. Graviton Surge comes through, and they've managed to flip the point. So they're out of danger at the moment. Now they just need to try and finish up the rest of this fight. Kolsky comes through with a huge Earthshatter, but there's the sound barrier. It's going to help keep people alive during all of this. Kolsky not converting that one into any kills at the moment. Looks like they're just getting a bit isolated, but there's still just so much tanky durability in this team. Now that the rally's got up, it's going to be that much harder to remove them. Mei just doesn't have the DPS to do it. They flip the point back, and now someone has to muscle their way back onto it. That's going to be very difficult to do. Zergy goes in with a meteor strike straight away, starting to get isolated, starting to get focused down. Down he goes, no problem. And as a result, it's getting tougher and tougher. Mikey's trying to do what all he can, but Tri-Spear lands the headshot, takes him down, no problem. And there we go. It looks like Shoes Money Crew gonna even this one up at the last breath here on Control Center.
Tri-Spear not even dedicating the Transcendence in that final fight. Both him and Izzy had their support ultimates ready to engage, but the positioning that set themselves up quite nicely, that they weren't going to be caught out by a Doomfist or a Maid. The walls weren't going to affect them too much. So really solid play coming out of Colsty, especially to stay alive in a lot of situations where other Reinhardts would fall in quick succession even. So now we've gone to Night Market. This again is typically where you see the tanky comps, but also gives a room for teams to play stuff like Farah if they decide to. And we can already see that we have are going to change up their lineup ever so slightly.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this is a very well-renowned sort of GOAT style map, right? You can absolutely play it on this one. There's a lot of chance to knock people off. There's a lot of chance to sort of boot people around. It looks like they're going to go for that. We do see we have Orb changing things up, though. Once again, the Soldier 76 joining the team, provides that healing. Looks like, no, they're going to opt against it. They spotted the enemy team running floats, running Zen Goats, and as a result, they're going to start changing things up themselves. I think they're going to just try and mirror it and muscle their way onto the point. It doesn't matter too much that they've lost a little bit of position here, as these two teams will just slam into each other pretty much straight up regardless. Looks like just a bit of back and forth, bit of argy-bargy, just to warm things up. Zergy in a lot of trouble. Goes down straight away. Huge kill out of Colsty.
You could see almost that Shoes Money Crew were able to come in and bully the rest of We Have Org. Just being able to sort of push him around the corner, and Colsty was allowed to be aggressive. Dies for his trouble, but he's 2/3 of having his ultimate ready in a fight, so really solid play. They were just able to bully out, take their time, and find an opportunity. As you said, they pointed out a mistake, and from there they were able to get 2 kills and almost team-wiped We Have Org for their trouble. So now they're well ahead in this ultimate fight, and they have the point.
They're really putting a lot of pressure on Chubbs at the moment. This is what it looks like when GOAT starts to work, ladies and gentlemen. You just find one single target and annihilate it as hard as you can with everybody. As a result, it's not even Chubbs' fault, right? This is the hard thing to sort of conceptualize. It looks really bad for him. He sort of arrives and explodes straight away. But that's just sort of how these comps work. These triple tank, triple support comps are really good at picking single targets and just deleting them when necessary. So Chubbs in a lot of trouble here, and Shoes Money Crew in a really good position for the next fight.
And that seems to be one of the reasons why Winster gets swapped out for the Reinhardt, just because you're less exploited, you have a bit more movement to be able to get out of situations that look a little bit problematic. Shoes Money Crew are well in control of ult economy. They have all of the ultimates that they would ever need, just in case things start to look problematic. Tri-Spear running all the way to spawn because he can do, because he has Transcendence to run on back. So now We Have Org kind of falling apart a little bit. Looked really strong on Gardens, now not so much. Shoes Money Crew very much in control of this one.
Yeah, this is where like a level head needs to come in. This is where you need clear calls. You need to make good decisions coming out in this one. They should know that they're going to be playing into a Graviton Surge. They've got a couple of things that they need to be concerned of. There goes the Graviton Surge. That's early engaged coming out from Shoes Money Crew. Might not convert into anything here. The bubbles are in a good place at the moment. Chubbs does actually connect onto Zeal here. They just got a little bit too greedy and didn't set up the play just properly enough. And as a result, We Have Org busting their way back out and managing to take the point with relatively efficient play coming forward. Barely had to use anything to do that one. Just 1 or 2 defensive ultimates, and that's all they really needed.
And they're working towards having a Graviton next for this next fight. Already 2/3 pretty much. The rally is going to be used just before the next engagement happens, and Kara has a sound barrier just to keep everybody up when this engagement starts. So Tri-Spear has been doing quite a lot on this day. You have to been watching him quite closely, putting Discord out onto Chubbs, and just deleting him. But that Earthshatter kind of gets through for free. Tri-Spear doesn't have any backup. The sound barrier is just a little bit late. It means that Tri-Spear does get taken down by Zergy. So now We Have Org in this fight, but it goes either way really. Bit by bit, I think we're starting to see Shoes Money Crew fall apart.
Mikey A and Chubbs with the coordination there. Mikey was just waiting for his opportunity, basically hid underneath the drop and let Colsty appear in front of him, landed the slam, and as a result, Colsty can just go full ball. Managed to trip up the Zenyatta, and well, the rest is history. So it looks like that tank coordination starting to come through, sort of the Lindholm Reinhardt synergy that needs to be manifest in these team comps. There goes the Graviton Surge, so let's see if they can find space to get some sort of follow-up on the back of this one. It looks like they have. There's just not enough protection. Rally, not enough to stop up the damage on this one, and it looks like We Have Org just continues to pile on the pressure, and now it's them looking great. It's them looking unstoppable.
They are trying to build up ultimates on the side of She's Money Crew. They have a Graviton. They almost have a Transcendence. But it is a good amount of stuff. I don't think Carrot even used the last Samba area that he needed because they've just been so in control of this choke that they're able to stun out the Reinhardt. There it is, the Shield Bash Death Shot combo.
Yeah, it's what you want to see out of these teams. It's exactly what is needed. And once your Reinhardt and Vegeta start working together, it is completely up to the enemy's area that has to try and manage, that has to bubble at the right time. It's basically a read of the enemy team as well. You just got to know when they're going to go for these ults, try and predict it, and get that bubble up just in time. That's not happening as a result. Well, it looks like we have Orcs just smashing their way through. Grab though does come out as very aggressive engage comes in, but there's just not quite enough follow-up. Kolsky buys his time, waits for his moment, drops the hammer, but there's a sound barrier in the way. It looks like Kolsky's just trading for Zerg. He actually launches himself off the map, but at least gets one. They've got some people on the point as well. They will be able to flip it. It's 99% to 90. They've got to be careful that they don't just ignore this as well. This is going to run out very quickly. Now, as a couple of kills continue to go to Shoes Money Crew through. Mikey gets a good boot there onto the Lucio, but he's managed to just wall ride his way back to safety at the very least. And now this rally gives them a new lease of life as they start muscling back onto the point. Shoes Money Crew in control at the moment, and it looks like no one from We Have All can get back there. Shoes Money Crew break their way out and take the first map.
There were so many resources dedicated to try and take Mars out on the Zarya that it just didn't happen. And by that point, we saw Shoes Money Crew trying to sneak around onto the point, managed to obtain it. We Have Og was still dedicated so much to try and take him out of the fight. So really well played to sort of play around the objective and really force We Have Og to make some big decisions. Here's a big Earth Shatter combo, perfectly timed. And there you go, like 10-play kill streak from Chubbs at the top. It shows how really they went through that whole period without really going under any issues.
It was a brutal set of games, but now it's going to be We Have Org's map choice. They will be able to pick exactly where they want to go. For the next one, it's going to be between Hanamura and Horizon. From what we've seen, actually, a lot of teams picking Hanamura or Horizon. Just like both of them seem viable. Horizon seems to throw people off a little bit more, but it looks like Hanamura might be the choice. Yep, straight away, they want to go to Hanamura. So now Shoes Money Crew are going to get to decide whether they want to attack or defend. And we'll see how it goes from there. But definitely Hanamura, a map where you can sort of run 3-3 comps, you can run Ghost comps, but a lot of counter comps working. And especially on Hanamura's second, Goat starts to fall apart a little bit.
We haven't really seen much of the counter comps coming out of either of these teams. We do know that Shoes Money Crew are capable of it, though. They brought out this map for Windstrike, if you remember correctly, the second game of the day that we had and pulled it apart. So maybe that's one of the reasons, really, is that fact that Shoes Money Crew can use those vertical high maps to do a lot of different strategies. Whether they run it on Hanamura does remain to be seen, though, so far.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they opt for, especially at this point in the tournament. Shoes Money Crew, they are still within a technical shout of the finals, but they have to make sure that, you know, no one wins. Basically, they need a draw in another match, and then they need to go 4-0. So it's going to be very difficult for them. Now it's going to be up to them if they want to start showing off strategies. What are they willing to show off? What are they willing to do here? Because this is just sort of getting set up as well for Contenders Season 3, where a lot of these teams are going to be playing, and some of them might want to start holding their cards a bit closer to their chest. Maybe they're just going to run Goats, play it safe. Maybe they're going to try and bring out some counter Goat strats as well. Practice those against some teams that they're going to be playing against and see how that works in a tournament setting.
Let's see how they sort of go from there. I mean, Shoes Money Crew still have a lot to play for. They could even potentially be in the finals depending on how the other results go. We'll try our very best to make sure that we can keep up to date with the scorelines as they're going on to work out who's going to be in the finals either tomorrow or whenever they turn around. Be sure to keep an eye on the Angry Titans Twitter to make sure that you know when the final is going to be. And hopefully we have a good amount of these technical issues sorted and set up by then. So we will have a big match against some of the bigger teams and contenders. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be able to see them in the EU scene. So Season 3 isn't going to be too long before it turns around again. It seems to be flying by this year. It's kind of terrifying. But in any case, we do see We Have All coming out with a fairly standard lineup. We are seeing Sergey on the Tracer again. Definitely worth keeping an eye on, so the movement is quite insane. Mikey on the Sombra needs to use the communication to find out target. Seems that pretty much Shoes Money Crew are going to be running the same instead with the Doomfist.
Zergi's like a squirrel. He really is. He's so squirrely with his movements. It's so quick. Anyway, Mikey A does end up going down though. Can't quite make his way through. It is one of the hardest parts on this map. When you're playing with a Sombra, it is very difficult to actually get through that choke point. You only really have one doorway to try and go through, unless you're trying to throw your translocator, but that's very telegraphed. People know where that goes, and as a result, they can just hunt you down and actually get kills on you. So you have a choice of trying to just sneak through where a D.Va's spamming, or you try and throw the translocator and sneak through that way. Both options are kind of bad, and as a result, you see Sombras struggle somewhat. It looks like, by the way, Shoes Money Crew not biting any time. Zeal just goes in with a perfect dive on to Kanga. Kanga will eliminate him straight away. Let's see what's going on with the Sombras. However, Mikey, again, still hasn't made his way through just yet. So it's looking increasingly good for Shoes Money Crew as they continue to hold this choke point brilliantly.
And they're just keeping their distance as well. It seems that Tri-Spear and Izzy, because they're on slow, no mobility healers basically, that they're able to heal from a distance, not being contested at all. Like, there's so much distance between them and the front line, of We Have Og, who are just very much fighting in this choke and losing these engagements before they even happen.
Pulse Bomb does come out of Zergi, does actually manage to land it on the Winston, provides a lot of damage, but not before Zeal's punch just connects right to him, will take him out of this fight, and we have Borg still once again on the back foot. Luckily it's a Tracer, she comes back pretty quickly, should be able to re-engage relatively fast, and now Monkey A has managed to build up that crucial EMP. You can see he tries to run through, instantly gets T-Stealth, but it doesn't matter, they manage to get onto the D.Va, will get that D-Mech straight away, even get the hack onto the Winston as well, who has that primal rage, but he's not going to be able to follow up on targets quite as well as he wants, and as a result, the kill feed starting to just go completely Red's way. We have Orb managing to just brute force their way here onto the point.
Managed to get on through eventually. It was just that one push that they needed to dedicate. But I guess the main thing out of this is Shoes Money Crew do have a good amount of ultimates for this next engagement, only dedicating the nano boost to it. But then again, the momentum that they can take from going from point A to point B can be huge if they use their ultimates to get their picks early in the fight. But we haven't really seen a lot of ultimates on the side of We Have Og. They do have Pulse Bomb, which they do use, as I do think Zergi is going to change over to Brigitte. Chubbs can be having their ultimates for Winston and Anna, respectfully. But it's safe to say that Shoes Money Crew have a lot in the bank for this.
Yeah, and Shoes Money, We Have All bring out the Soldier 76. Mikey A bringing out sort of the old grizzled warrior, I suppose, and the old grizzled warrior of Overwatch. He's sort of fallen out of favor, but still very strong on the back of this map if you can manage to get it. Huge amount of healing coming out as well, as the heal grenade does connect, will keep people alive. Looks like Zeal's not going to take any major risks with that meteor strike as well, so we'll go back to safety. As once again, We Have All starts to punch. EMP does come out. The sound barrier is there to counter a lot of the damage. Sleep Dart somehow gets through everybody and hits Mikey A. I have no idea how that Sleep Dart hits. Where's the World Cup deal when you need it, ladies and gents? As the D.Va does come out, will push people even further back here. We have all still on the back foot, are going to be forced to try and run for safety. Mike A extremely low, has to throw down his own heal field just to stay alive, will survive, and now the team has to try and get a regroup going. Shoes Money Crew not letting this one go, actually. Everyone sort of stood out in the open here. They're just going to keep poking.
Because they know that they made a mistake, because they dedicated so many ultimates to that. They dedicated 5 ultimates for that one fight. 4, sorry, because Kolsky still has this primal rage. Mikey A does have a tactical visor ready, so they need to take this high ground and find him a perch to stand on, and there's no spot ultimate to deal with it, so they need to be very careful. But they need to get to pace. We have Og need to get into position first, because right now Shoes Money Crew are able to stop that before it's even happening.
Shoes Money Crew taking initiative time and time again, just breaking their way up there, using the nano boost to try and do something with that, trying to just get that Winston through. Also, D.Va Bomb forced to sort of come out to try and buy a little bit of time. Kolsky actually gets slept here at the last gasp. Oh no, Tri-Spear connects the shot as well. That's just going to stall this and maybe make sure that they can't get anything onto Kolsky as well. He should just be running back. Kolsky's literally all the way back in first point at this point. Now has to start making his way home, but Shoes Money Crew feeling confident at the moment.
And they will be. They looked like they over-dedicated in the final fight, but they now start to build up stuff like EMP, their support ultimate. So long as Izzy and Tri-Spear keep away from what's oncoming from We Have Og. But again, the build-up of ultimates might just be the difference. But so far, We Have Og aren't really able to do much. They're kind of waiting for an opportunity to get picked off before they can even try it. So they need to be careful. And again, Kanga taken out. This looks like a reset on the side of We Have Og.
EMP comes through, managed to connect it. They did a good job scouting out. They found the Sombras that are hiding in their midst, but they're having such a hard time breaking this high ground. They need something to just get them through that space, because every single time they try and muscle their way through, a Doomfist is just punching down there. Kolsky's just rampaging down there with the Winston Cleave as well, and it's just getting so difficult for them to muscle their way through. Something different might need to come out of this team, or they've got a lot of ultimates. They're building up a huge war chest. Maybe they just try and brute force it here, but if that goes wrong, they're going to be so behind.
And it's all of the time that they've dedicated to getting these ultimates when there was a really big ult economy. Kara taken out again, so they have to wait. And you could already see that she's money crew. All right, we can dive on them. We can stagger them even more. They don't have their Lucio, so there's no way of getting out of these fights early. And again, is he getting picks? Straightforward for them at this point. We have Org really struggling to get any coordination and semblance together, and really surprised she's money crew.
Hughes Money Crew playing with fire slightly there, though. They did dive out very aggressively. If that went wrong, this could still turn on them very fast. It doesn't take much for a couple of kills to come through, but still, it feels like we have all just haven't been able to execute on any of their strategies. They haven't been able to do anything they want, getting completely shut down so far, and just having a really tough time even doing anything so far. So we'll see how it goes as they start to advance on this next corner. And here comes the rally as well. Just going to keep everybody alive. And once again, Nano Boost comes through straight away. Everyone's just running through. Here comes the Nano Boost of Doomfist. Zeal gets himself one, takes out Monkey A. Crucial damage piece here on the side of the offense. Looks like Brigitte managing to buy a little bit of time, but Zeal's just going uncontested in the backline. They cannot deal with him, just knocking everybody around, landing these combos, landing the hits, and as a result, the kills come thick and fast, and Hughes Money continue their hold.
And they must have wasted about 4 or 5 minutes time at this point, so like changes have had to come in for We Have Org. They've had ultimates that have been sat on them for quite some time but not being able to use them. Chubbs had that ultimate right at the start of pushing from point A to point B and hasn't had an opportunity to use it because these fights have been ended so quickly. So Hughes Money Crew doing a really good job of just putting like a glass cup on top of We Have Org and making sure that they can't get much. EMP comes in and the picks start flowing.
Yes, Hughes Money Crew continue to just be super coordinated here. The moment that EMP landed, they were all ready and good to go. We also have Zeal, who's constantly going on these flanks. He's sort of getting on top of the pagoda in the middle of the courtyard and jumping in onto the back line as well. They are setting up and executing plays far before We Have Org are even doing anything. They're just sort of standing around, letting themselves get engaged on them. That's just going to cause them problems time and time again. Unfortunately, with the current meta especially, whoever engages first tends to have a huge advantage here. Kelsey actually going for a very bold sort of engage here. This might be jumping the gun slightly. He does have primal rage, but has to be careful. Has to respect the fact that there's a lot of stuns on the enemy team. Zeal does manage to get the nano boost on him. Will stay alive. Does get rid of Zergi once again, and that's just a huge force for control that's just been deleted once more. Looks like they want to try and get rid of Mikey A now. He's in a lot of trouble. Zenyatta healing, just keeping him alive. Kill feed lighting up with blue, and there's no problem for Hughes Money Crew to continue this hold. Zergi trying to actually nip around the side, but I think he just got spotted there by Zeal, who's looking for him at the moment. It's a bit of a Metal Gear Solid. Zergi does get spotted out, is getting hunted down by the Doomfist, gets caught out, has to recall, even just getting hounded on the recall itself. Colsty's there waiting for him. Hughes Money Crew giving them no space at all to operate on.
And they're in control. There's like 2 seconds left. It doesn't really look like We Have Org going to be able to touch. Zergi at last second managed it. We do eventually see Chubbs being able to use this Winston ultimate. Seal has just been in control. The second point of Hanamura. Forget the Hanzo versus Genji fight here. Just imagine Doomfist just jumping in and interrupting the family fiasco. It's ruining it for everybody, because that's basically what Seal has been doing here. EMP again coming in for clear up, and this is the most progress that We Have Org have been able to make onto this point up until now in the last second. So right now, Hughes Money Crew looks completely in control of defending that, and all the time has been expired.
Yeah, that was a clinic, and that was perhaps, you know, part of the reason why we don't see Soldier 76 quite so much on this map. Don't get me wrong, it's a great finisher if you can get him through, if you can get him onto the high ground, if you can get the attack visor out, but even then, there's like the spawn distance is so close, supports tend to just run to safety into spawn, or an ultimate can, for example, just counteract it. There's just so many defenses against it, and then you've got to deal with these sort of explosive threats, the nano monkey, the nano doomfist as well, just crashing through you time and time again. And if you can't control that, well, what happened is just going to happen there. Well, they just suddenly dive in, smash someone, and then suddenly you're on the back foot. The moment you start losing people onto CP, if the enemy can just trade like for like, it's always going to play out on the second point towards the defender's advantage, where they just get respawns faster, and as a result, it's going to be fine for them. So really, really tough engagement. We Have Org there. They didn't look like they had quite, you know, a major plan in what they were doing, or they had a plan, but they just couldn't execute it in any meaningful way, and didn't change up until the last possible second.
The longer the time went on, that window of opportunity that they had, where they had a good amount of ultimates, and we have Hughes Money Crew even dedicated so many ultimates to that final fight. They should have known that they had a good advantage there, but they kept just going into the high ground, trying to take it to perch the soldier up there. And once they eventually did get in, it didn't really amount to much at all. So maybe they should have just tried going main a couple more opportunities and tried to break through in different ways and having people go in different directions, because it was really easy and telling for Shoes Money Crew to counter that because they knew exactly where Weirvog was coming from.
And so we see Shoes Money Crew rolling out once again with the floats comp, with the Zen Goats sort of just making their way forward. Mikey going with a quick Hackerino, tries to get onto the back of the D.Va, just trying to shut that one down as well, and causing them some minor problems as he does build up a nice amount of ult charge for himself as well. He's already on 40%, has been spotted out, so we'll have to recall away, but 50% ult charge already, that's got to be feeling pretty good for them.
They're sort of very quickly working towards what they want to do, and Mikey can sort of change this fight in himself just because of the fact that Trispin and Izzy aren't quite up to scratch for having their ultimate. So if he can get that EMP out early, that might be the difference, and they're on the point and getting hit.
It's looking dire now. Shoes Money Crew just muscle their way in. Zergy goes down, and as a result, it's pretty tough to turn this into anything sort of kill-wise. They don't have that Doomfist just to provide the extra DPS. Mikey just backs away. They're not even going to try for a second contest here because they know if they lose anybody, then it's very likely they lose second point. But now they have to fight this one out for 7 minutes to try and hold point B. Don't get me wrong, it's Hanamura. We've all been there on ladder, but it's not looking likely.
The EMP could be a deciding factor, but it needs to be more deciding factors in there. Zergy managing to get the pick up to Moors, who would be half health because of the EMP's effect. It clears them up, and it sort of makes Weirvog's life a little bit easier, but they need to do this for a considerable amount of time. We can already see that Shoes Money Crew are building up ultimates and are ready to go with a few of them.
They're looking to try and get something. They're looking to try and find a way to get through this, but with 6 minutes 20 still left on the clock. They've done it once, and now they need to do it time and time again. And looking at Shoes Money Crew, they've got tons of options available, don't they?
Plenty of options, and they have plenty of ways to go about this, either taking the high ground, going mid. Can't really go on the left-hand side, don't really have the mobility, but again, going to try and go for high ground, maybe even to try and bait out. We have other situations. Another boost coming in on the Winston, actually on the Doomfist, so Zergy's going to be able to go in. The stun barrier is there in response.
Sound Barrier does keep everybody alive. There's a great anti-heal grenade in there, but there's just nothing to follow it up. And Sound Barrier, well, Sound Barrier doesn't care if your anti-heal is out of position as well. Kolsty, meanwhile, actually just getting bounced around quite not Kolsty, sorry. Kolsty managing to get onto Tara, rather, bouncing him around, getting him out of place. Now the Gravitron Surge goes in. D.Va Bomb does follow up as well, causes some problems, does get rid of the D.Va mech, and this is looking increasingly good for Shoes Money Crew. They're starting to get some progress onto the point and starting to steadily win out this fight. They've got the supports there, they've got the D.Va there, just to at least get 1/3, and that's all they need, and they've managed to do it. That's literally it. Blink and you'll miss it as Shoes Money Crew brute force their way onto the point with floats.
Looking much more solid on Lee Chang Tao. It looked a lot closer there, but this time it was Star Shoes Money Crew. We will be going to a pure escort map next. Seen a lot of that Winston animation actually today. I haven't got it myself, never got it during the Halloween event, which I'm kind of annoyed at. Oh, also the Hammond skin. But again, the Winston play has been pretty exceptional. We have all really struggled constantly to try and push through on their attack, and it was fairly straightforward for Shoes Money Crew to do the same. They had better strategies in place, kind of knew how to work around it, so it was fairly straightforward for them to go on and win this one.
Shoes Money Crew playing with increased confidence throughout. They've been looking better and better so far. So it will be we have Org getting another map choice as we do go to the pure payload maps. It will be between Route 66 or Dorado. We've seen a lot of Dorado. We've seen a tiny bit of Route 66 today. Most of you have been seeing Dorado. Wouldn't be surprised to see them push towards Dorado here, as it is one of those maps that doesn't quite favor the GOAT's playstyle quite so much, doesn't favor the 3-3 comps. There's a lot more sort of Widowmaker getting played there. It's a lot more about controlling high ground and controlling sightlines. But we will be taking a brief 5-minute break, and then when we come back, we'll be playing out the last half of the final map of the day. So definitely stay tuned, stay angry, and stay with us here at the Angry Cup. See you soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Angry Cup. Welcome back, of course, to Shoes Money Crew versus We Have Organ. We are going to Route 66, where the old Deadlock gang, of course, has busted open a train. And now, actually, we know what's inside the payload as well. Always a mystery before. It's just a mysterious egg. And now we know that there's a robot in there, apparently, that's somewhat important. So,
Is Decker still in there now?
I think so. It doesn't look like it's been opened. I think that's what you're trying to steal. It'd be a bit silly to try and steal an empty egg. I wouldn't try and steal it myself. So I guess
Ivan is also in an egg of similar. I'm not saying that Ivan is in the Overwatch universe, but
he might fit actually. He might fit reasonably well. It wouldn't surprise me too much to see. I mean, you got the Sentai skin for Genji as well, so who the hell knows, really? But we should be getting started with this match nice and shortly, especially as we are sort of rounding up the tournament as well. We can start looking back while we wait for the teams to make their choices and sort of figure out what they're doing. We have, we've seen a couple of results. We've also seen sort of Kangana sort of make their splash onto the scene. Unfortunately, a little bit, not showing up as strongly as perhaps they could. They are playing across Atlantic, though, across Atlantic ping against sort of European comps. If they are trying to match goats or run goats of any kind, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Let me tell you, it's very easy to miss stuff like, Zarya bubbles, very easy to let stuff through on that one. So Kangana have shown up, have sort of arrived at the new roster, but a lot of teams also showing up with a new roster, changed rosters in preparation for Contender Season 3, and we're seeing some of them here today. Mikey A, for example, joining We Have Org here along with one or two others, for example, and it's not worked out super well for them, but for Shoes Money Crew, brand new, well, these guys are looking real good.
I'm genuinely surprised that there've been some teams in contenders and in this tournament that haven't changed their roster since season 2. I think Shoes Money Crew going through trials, it's fair enough. Mars just get the first pick onto Kanga. But stuff like Windstrike is a good example. August and Hungry, Young and Beautiful as teams that haven't really changed up their lineup all too much. And I thought there'd be a lot of new faces being in and out. I think most of the teams that have come in from trials have been the ones that have changed the most.
I don't want to distract too much, but there is also a Torbjorn Arisa on this map. So Shoes Money Crew bringing out the new Torb. Torb, Junkrat as well. They are going to be playing sort of the most obnoxious style. Torb, Junkrat, Widowmaker, Solo Mercy for support. They want to try and pin the enemy team back as much as possible. Looks like We Have Org changing things up a little bit. They've got a number of dive elements to that. Torbjorn not too bad against the dive. The turret doesn't really care how agile Genji is. It's not going to miss. It's going to do a lot of damage all the time. And as you can see, Chubb's taking a huge amount of damage now, just getting poked down by that turret. No one's actually dealing with it just yet, and they're just being suppressed by it. It does eventually go down here, but they can't exactly just jump onto this high ground either. The Torbjorn and the Junkrat is going to cause a lot of problems as we do see Chubbs going in. Going to try and get something done on the back of this beautiful anti-heal grenade. Does mean the follow-up is there. Mikey securing the kill on that one, and maybe Shoes Money Crew just playing a touch too arrogant here.
The fact that Shoes Money Crew only have the one support and the triple DPS, it's like playing comp, to be honest. But their lineup seems to be doing okay, keeping themselves alive. The payload is still just trucking along. It's very difficult for this team to be able to contest it. Seal goes down and there's not a resurrect for another 13 seconds or so. So it is a bit awkward. Now we're starting to see the picks going up against Shoes Money Crew, so they might want to change their lineup just a little bit. Not having ultimates just yet, but Tri-Spear is very close to having a molten goal.
Koski in a spot of trouble here, does have the Mercy plugged in and healing him. As the Valkyrie comes out, it's going to be quite tough to actually remove on the point. Riptide does come forward, doesn't find too much, just gets rid of the Diva at the last gasp there. So we'll get rid of that. Tri-Spear has Molten Core available to him as well. We'll be able to sort of play a little bit of Splatoon here and paint the floor just a touch. But of course, the floor will be lava and will be quite difficult to deal with. Meanwhile, though, in terms of who We Have Org, Dragonblade going to be coming up here and should be pivotal as long as he doesn't get stunned up, bombed, exploded, and right-clicked by Tor.
And that should be helped out a little bit by the fact that Mikey A does have an EMP, which might clear the way of barriers, shields, all that jazz, and the ability to do it. It goes in. The Dragon Blade isn't ready though, so is it going to be any follow-up? Yeah, the tanks are able to dive in, get the pick up to Zeal, but that's all they can manage at this point.
Molten Core did actually manage to come out. They did sort of paint the high ground there and cause a couple of issues, but now they're very much on the back foot. Beautiful anti-heal grenade comes out of Kanga as well onto the tanks. Gotta make it too hard to keep that Diva alive. Barbecue D-Mech once and for all, but Tri-Spear still up and running, still just shelling out damage with this Torbjorn. He's so consistent in just putting out the hurt. He's being so difficult to remove as well. His ability to sort of give himself armor in a panic and be a sort of prickly little ball, basically, with his right clicks makes him very difficult to dive, very difficult to engage on, and they're having a very tough time removing him.
And he's just sat in the back line, and he's done a really good job of keeping everybody tucked up on the team. It does mean that they have an ultimate a good portion of the time when they need it. But now the Dragon Blade's going to come in. It's nano boosted, and right now hasn't got anything.
Yeah, to get stunned up, just pressured out as well. Colsey gets the finishing blow on that one, but that's why you're sort of seeing Nano Blades starting to fall out of favor more and more. It's just getting countered a little bit too easy by stuff like Brigitte. Molten Core again just covering the payload, means the tanks can't get in there, means the tanks can't get onto the backline at all. They're just going to have to back up, re-rally, and there's only 20 seconds really left on the clock here. They've got one shot to do this. They swap to a pharmacy out of desperation. Let's see if this is going to be enough.
It's a very desperate sort of case. It might just work out, but they might be able to build up an ultimate in time. Farah can be really good at building up her ultimate in very quick succession. Get a good amount of damage onto the high ground that it forces the rest of the Fuse Money Crew to maybe touch. And you're seeing them right now quite split at the moment. So this is an opportunity for Weavog to push this pedal a little bit more, but we are now in overtime.
Barbecue managing to get onto this forest. He's actually in a lot of trouble at the moment. Has to be very careful, as now we do see the bongo come out. EMP does come forward though. Diva Bomb right in place as well. Spox, I haven't said that name. It's Spokes managing to do a huge amount there. Does get smashed to pieces with that armor skin, so it gets scattered to the four winds. Still got a lot of damage out there. They still haven't removed all of Fuse Money Crew out of that Mercy, making them a little bit sticky. Means the rest can come out. Means people can come back up, and they won't actually complete on the back. There's a huge setup from Spokes, not just being enough here, and Fuse Money Crew continue with the whole.
I'm surprised that Zeal got so much success out of a hero that likes to play against teams that are in narrow corridors or in tight spaces. On the first point of Route 66, which is vast and open, being able to get as many Riptides as he did was pretty impressive. And Tri-Spare, even on the Torbjorn, did show that it wasn't even just like a toying throw pick. He showed exactly why and where it can be used. There were a couple of changes for Weavog, but I believe that they were just a little bit too late. Spokes even waiting so long to use the Dragon Blade, not getting much, then switching over to the Power, which seemed to have better results as soon as he did it. But now it's a big ask for Weavog to be able to hold on to here, and it does put Fuse Money Crew in a nice position to potentially nip away with the win and maybe top their group in an attempt to get into the finals.
I've got to sort of say, I really hope we have Orc and bring it back. It would be so kind of heartbreaking to finish out this tournament with a 0-4. It's been a long day for all of these teams that have been playing for a long time. It's going to be something to sort of wear on them. Losing games is always going to sort of dampen a pro player spirit. So hopefully they can sort of rally around, put some W's on the board here, and maybe even up the series slightly. But it is, like Ryan said, going to be a very big ask in the coming game. The Golden Parking Space of Joy is just in front of the sign advertising, I believe, the famous Monte Cristo of the Panorama Diner, where McCree enjoyed some nice apple pies. Now, it's official in the law that McCree seems to enjoy apple pie. Who knew, being an American? But it's looking increasingly likely the Fuse Money Crew might put themselves just in that grand finals contention. Of course, the other matches have to go completely their way. They have to get a draw between Windstrike and between... why am I blanking? It's late, I'm tired. But yeah, they have to hope for a tie in the other series.
Samson.
If that doesn't happen, it doesn't really end up going their way. But very aggressive start coming up. But a Bastion just joining us, that's going to put a lot of this early aggression sort of on the back burner. They can't afford to just charge into this. The Omnic doing so much damage here. If they can't get rid of him quickly, he's going to tear even a Goat's Comp apart. And as a result, it's looking dire as Chubbs goes down very early.
It's like they knew that Weavog were going to take an aggressive defense, so they planned the Bastion just to make sure that they can never really be fully dedicated, but they can't escape themselves either. So clearing up the point, getting a lot of ultimate charge for their trouble. Nano Boost is almost ready, but most importantly, Bastion, Moz almost has the tank mode raring to go for this next engagement. Maybe perching up on the high ground. You can sort of see that he's going to ramp up to try and take it. And Weavog not really prepared. They're trying to group up beforehand, and they need to be very careful. There's a Bastion on the high ground from distance. Can be a very scary thing indeed.
Yeah, they're just taking this ground. They're establishing themselves a beachhead and have parked the Bastion onto it. And now, well, it's going to be up to Weavog to manage to find the pathway to get rid of that. Looks like they're instead just going to try and get onto the Diva. They basically flipped the map on them. Now, Fuse Money Crew decided they want to play defense again from the looks of things as they just continue to rain damage down onto the payload. Bastion inching his way forward, trying to get what damage out that he can, but does get burned down. This is sort of the disadvantage of the Bastion. Once Goat's Comp knows where it is, they can sort of charge it down relatively easily. Or sorry, Float's Comp, just to be completely precise here. Mike Ye managing to get a lot of damage done now on this Zarya. They do have to be a little bit careful. They will stall out Zeal just a touch longer. Will take him down at the last gasp, but they still got to do this more for 2 minutes 15. And I'm hoping that Bastion might stick around a little bit. We might see a tank form, but it's very likely to be swapped. Looks like they're going to stick on it. Could be an outlet.
Yeah, it's ultimate. So I guess they've got time as well, and they have a map win that requires them to have a game in hand, I suppose. So they can have a lot of freedom to try the strategy, but 6 ultimates for either side. This is going to be one hell of a match.
Yeah, and you're seeing it straight away. Diva Bomb just goes right in. Graviton Surge comes out nice and early. Nano Boost goes onto Zeal. There's the Transcendence, though. Going to stall up the fight just a little bit. Anti-heal does go onto Chubb, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful. Has to back away. First Blood does go down to Mouse, but the res is there. Valkyrie enabling Izzy to get that res, and now the real fight does start to begin. Kanga gets rid of RDQ, and no reses are going to be able to help that one as Mikey A now starts to charge. It's a huge anti-heal grenade, but it's still not going to be enough. Mikey A just rampages through the enemy team there, cuts them through like paper with a high charge beam, and there we go. 12 ults available in that fight, most of them used, and now Shoes Money Crew needs to change things up.
10 of which we used in that fight. The fact that we have Og were able to win that engagement and still do it with 2 less ultimates that we saw coming out of Shoes Money Crew left a lot. So Chubbs has the Earth Shatter, Kolsky does not, so he's going to play very aggressively, try and bait it out.
Diva Bomb goes up high, doesn't find too much of anything. Earth Shatter comes through though with the Brigitte charge, so they've managed to link that combo up beautifully, gets themselves onto Kolsky, and it looks increasingly like we have all are actually doing it here. They will actually put a Gemini on. I want to remind you, Shoes Money Crew, if they don't take this 4-0, any chances they have of going to the finals, I believe, are gone. So they need the 4-0 here. This isn't just playing sort of for the lulz. It's not, you know, a likely situation that they make it, but if they want to keep the tournament hopes alive, they've got to do this.
They have a lot to do. A lot to keep an eye on, so they're going to be playing aggressively. Graviton gets used to try and keep Shoes Money Crew at bay, and it does look like the picks are going to start going through. Does look like actually that we have Og may be able to hold this as they played very aggressively, pushed him all the way back to spawn.
They're playing so much more aggressively. This is so much nicer to see out of them. They're finally sort of playing with some life in them, playing with some fire in their bellies. They're engaging aggressively. They're making plays. They're making opportunities for themselves instead of just letting themselves sort of get engaged on over and over. They've managed to deflect the Hammond, and as a result, we have Org take Route 66 at the last gasp.
Really solid play. Honestly, like a whole difference even than we saw before the break, and it wasn't a big break, but maybe they're just sort of deciding that they want to just run the GOATS comp a lot more. And it's a difficult thing to do. They didn't even get the first checkpoint, and they looked like a shell of a team, but on this defense, they really showed that they could deal with the engagement, but not only that, the pressure of having like a Bastion on the attacking side and all sorts of different curveball strategies, they dealt with it really well.
Yeah, I do a considerable amount of VOD review, and sometimes people do ask, like, why don't you see Bastion come out to counter stuff like Ghost, right? That's what Bastion's for. He does a lot of damage. He should rip tanks apart. But one of the weaknesses that you saw there is that when these tanky comps, when these 3-3 comps know where the Bastion is, it becomes very easy to sort of go, okay, well, we can just put a defense matrix on you. We can put Zarya bubbles up. We can find a path that's very, very short and get onto the Bastion because he has that setup time. He doesn't have enough time to sort of reposition cleverly. He can't outmaneuver those comps coming at him. And as a result, he gets very easy to take down. You saw what happened there. They knew where the Bastion was. They took him out. They engaged on him, denied the res. And as a result, we have all just took complete control of that map. But we are going to our final map, and Ryan, what is it going to be?
We're going to Numbani. It's Shoes Money Crew's decision. Picked Numbani over Hollywood. Interested to see what strategies that they run there. Typically Doomfist or any form of diving tanks. Kind of what they could run a little bit on Route 66, but I am interested to see how and where this one goes. Shoes Money Crew looking a little bit lesser in that final matchup. But so far, been very much in control of a lot of the matches that they had. Just maybe a bit of a misplay that they weren't able to finish out Route 66. But the last match of the day does kind of decide that Shoes Money Crew won't be going in. And it's also worth adding that Angry Titans beat British Hurricane. So we will be seeing the Angry Boys in the grand final whenever that may be.
Wow, really? That's legit. Like the way the British Hurricane have been playing, that is actually, I find that quite shocking. That's very impressive. Well done, Angry Titans. They actually managed to make it to the finals of their own tournament. It's not rigged at all either. So very well done to them. I think they actually gave themselves a harder group, if you ask me. So very well done to Angry Titans for winning that one out. So they've made their way into the finals. And now it's just the rest of Group B that needs figuring out here as we do start to load into Numbani. Like Ryan mentioned, this map has a lot of versatility to it. If any map you're going to see Torbjorn on, historically it has been Numbani. It's been running all sorts of matters, just turrets being thrown out onto the high ground non-stop, causing problems for people. So it could come back out here, but I think Shoes Money Crew probably just going to put that one on the back burner, might feel a little bit burned about how that last map went, and perhaps want to try and play this one a little bit more straight-faced.
They had a lot of this against Windstrike that we saw earlier too, of just winning out some maps quite cleanly against a team that seemed much more rehearsed and coordinated, but then losing matches that realistically they should have won or at least performed a lot better in. It is worth adding as well that there won't be like a reverse sweep. If the match ends 2-all, then it will just count as a draw. There doesn't need to be necessarily a winner decided. So this will be the last map. There won't be like a final deciding control map to choose to win it out of these two teams. It would just be a draw. But She's Money Crew want to make sure that they can win this one out, running in a very similar strategy to what they've been running so far. But Zeal is now going to be playing on the Pharah.
The defensive Pharah coming out. This gives you a lot of options in terms of just like spotting down angles, providing all the spam. There's a lot of sort of narrow choke points. A lot of places as well, if they want to try and go around the outside, for example, you can get those boops that can be so pivotal, maybe get themselves a couple of kills. Beautiful boop, by the way, last round to secure play of the game for Kara. Very nicely done from him. But Zeal going to be starting off with some early spam, and this is going to be good for their scouting. Let's see if they can just keep the forces of We Have Org on the back foot.
Trying to get their barrage fairly early too, just to sort of get some early damage in. Almost so, I think We Have All going back to change up their lineup, but they're going to dedicate to it. Diving onto Zeal, actually, the knockback required because he went down fairly low. Getting all of this pressure put to the high ground to make sure that We Have All don't really have a solid outlet and a way to push onto this objective. Now they're stuck in a really awkward spot.
They want to keep that pressure on that pharmacy. They're really trying to do what they can, but Zeal's just too high in the sky. The skybox on this map is very, very high. It's very difficult for teams to get onto that Pharah without some form of sort of long-range hit scan. And you're seeing it slowly grind things down now. She's Money Crew is just starting to tip the balance ever so slightly. The damage is starting to overwhelm. Zeal's building towards himself, but crucially Kanga almost had his all of his own available to him. It looks like he's going to just hold off on it. No, he might not actually. Mikey A secures a kill on Zeal. That's a huge threat that's been removed so far. They might continue the push here. Mikey A starting to make his way onto the point, trying to get rid of the Mercy. Gets the kill onto him with a couple of headshots there, and We Have Org in position here to maybe take the point back. They spot the Diva outside of Mech, get the kill on that one with a well-placed grenade. Now Winston's rejoined us on the point, does get the nano boost onto him, trying to chase down targets, but a good move out of Kara will keep Kanga alive that little bit longer and keep We Have Org on the point that little bit longer. Here comes the Primal Rage in Winston, though. It looks like She's Money Crew might have just had enough of it.
Colsty, Primal Raged and Slept, but Kara gets hacked before you can even get the boot in. But Moz does have an EMP ready for this defense. Really well played, actually, coming out. But Moz using it. She's Money Crew managing to hold on just a little bit more, but Kara does use the Samurai to keep them in this fight. Very scrappy engagement coming out both sides.
Mikey A, unfortunately not getting what he wanted out of his EMP either, but meanwhile Zeal on the back line has managed to get rid of Chubbs, gets rid of Kranz as well. Huge hack onto Barbecue actually will eliminate the mech there. Valkyrie coming in just to try and give a little bit more momentum, but here comes Zergy with the Dragon Blade, has a nano boost on him, but gets hacked. He can't get into the air to get onto these targets in the sky. He can try and clear off what's on the point here, but he can't deal with the nano boosted fire. She's just too high in the sky, and as a result will continue raining damage in from above. We Have Org still can't quite finish this one off. Izzy gets the res, that Mercy just slowly bringing the numbers advantage towards their favor. Zeal staying alive as well, getting so much support. That's just so good out of Tri-Spear, managing to land the shots on the Pharah, keeping her alive. Mikey A managed to get rid of Colsty once more. They've almost flipped the point entirely. They've got to get on it. They can't do it, and We Have Org finally flipped the point.
It took a while. There's now just less than 4 minutes on the clock to push this payload a little bit further. Really good play at She's Money Crew on the defense. I think we also saw once, I think Mikey A's EMP actually hacked Moses as he was EMPing, so it completely negated the effect earlier on. Hence why I got very confused, because both Sombras used their EMPs at the same time, but it was only Mikey A's that went through. So nice little overlap, maybe a bit of a top trump there. But now we're going to be seeing Mikey A prepping up towards having his new EMP ready to go. He's going to wait for She's Money Crew to come out a little bit, but you can sort of tell She's Money Crew are looking for him by swinging and aiming.
They get onto the Tri-Spear, and there's the dive to follow it up as well. Gets eliminated at the last possible gasp. Chubbs though does get caught out a little bit here. The follow-up is just not quite present to be able to turn this into anything more. And losing your Winston here is a very big deal. Mouse now has clear sight lines. There's no bubbles in the way for him to land these shots, as he's now looking for targets. Diva, D-Mech will get killed off at the last possible gasp. Can they find one or two more kills to still miss out even further? Looks like no, but She's Money Crew surviving kind of a dire situation there. Hacks and EMP was beautiful to behold, but the follow-up just not quite manifesting.
And they didn't have the ultimate either. Well, now Tri-Spade doesn't. It needs to build up another Transcendence fairly quickly. And Zergy has that ultimate. There's no follow-up, so it might be quite easy for him to go in and get those picks, but depends on the CC coming out of Mars and Zeal. Kosti goes down very low, has the Primal Rage to stay alive, and this is where the dedication of ultimates will start.
Nano Blade goes in, but it goes onto the Vegeta. She's just cutting her way back, gets the stun, and bounces Zergy right out. They have managed to get themselves a little bit of ground on the back of this, but they haven't got themselves the kill, and now they're just running for the hills. They know that Hugh's Money Crew is coming for them. They've got the rally going. Mikey A in so much trouble here will go down on the Zarya, and now Hugh's Money Crew in full control. They can just hold around this corner, no problem. Kelsey even going for an aggressive position here, just waiting on the high ground, and this is looking better and better for Hugh's Money Crew.
It amazes me the fact that a Nano Boosted Genji can be blocked away by a Swedish lady with a shield. Like, the amazing work that Brigitte can do against a lot of these comps is actually ridiculous. Tri-Spear building up towards Transcendence is ready to go, but Kara has a sound barrier in turn to make sure that She's Money Crew have to have a bit more of a longer fight and a longer engaged frame. We've all started to push in slowly, wanting to try and maybe work towards an air shatter that Chubbs is on the right hand.
Kolsky in a lot of trouble here. Has to be careful he doesn't get focused down too much. Does still have his jump, and there's the Transcendence as well. That's going to keep him alive. Sound barrier does come out, stalls out the fight that little bit longer, but this is going to be up to who can focus what best. Kolsky actually managed to get to the back line, but meanwhile, got a Graviton Surge coming out from Mikey A. They've managed to get two in there, gets rid of the Brig at the very least. Can they get rid of the Diva on the follow-up? Earthshatter is huge, though. Finds a number of targets, but they just can't do it. Kolsky with an amazing job of trying to stall that one up. Krems has managed to at least convert them into kills, but Kolsky keeping his team alive with the Primal Raging Winston, bouncing threats away from those that are down. This is exactly what you want to see out of your tanks. But Kanga with a crucial turn on the fight. Transcendence comes out the last possible moment, and that's going to keep his team alive, keep the payload rolling forward. Can Hugh's Money Crew actually make their way back to contest this one? It looks like they're just about doing that. Can we have Orb make this into a couple of kills? Zergy gets rid of Zeal. There's another Graviton Surge coming out of Mikey. He's just built up a second one in this fight, and as a result, they're just going to be able to muscle their way through here on second.
It was a really long engagement. We have Odd doing terrific work to stay in that fight and get that point eventually. But you got to say, it's really well played from She's Money Crew as well to make sure that they could keep fighting and waste as much time as possible. We now just have less than 2 minutes to push towards this final point. We have Odd trying to push ahead of this choke a little bit, take as much space as they possibly can. But yeah, really excellent work at Mikey A on this area to build up two very fast Gravitons and also get good use out of both of them.
I mean, he's been practicing it a lot, I know that for sure with Team UK. They definitely put an emphasis on making sure Mikey was up to spec on that one. It's been shown here, and we have Orc, when they've been playing aggressive, they've been looking like a completely different team, and I love seeing it. But that said, Chubb's in a lot of trouble here. They still managed to get the kill on Colty. Chubb's still on very low hit points here as the Transcendence does come through on the defensive side. Chubbs manages to find another kill on Zeal, however. We have all continue to be in control. Izzy in a spot of trouble, tried hiding out in a corner there for the contest, gets spotted out and killed, and now we have War pushing all the way to spawn. Chubb has that Earthshatter in his back pocket as well. They're gonna try and look for it to try and steal this one up. They don't even need it, they can't touch the point just in time, and we have all complete here on Numbani.
Very much looking like a different team now after that win on Route 66. Looking like they have a bit more pedigree about them, able to take engagements, and now the star factor of some of these players is starting to shine out a little bit more, I believe. Kara played really well on Lucio, getting people up into position, but I have to say that Mikey A was certainly the one to keep an eye on. Saying that, though, they managed to finish the point, which is difficult enough to do on Numbani, with only a minute extra time. So She's Money Crew must definitely do better than that if they can sort of build off their own aggressive attack. But it's still a lot to do on Numbani. For the most part, you don't tend to see teams finishing out a map completely.
It's a very, very tough point to finish, especially if the enemy team does start to get entrenched. They can start running things like triple tank, triple support. Very difficult to sort of dislodge that, very easy to hold around the corners, speed boost onto the enemy team, kill them out repeatedly. Force-wise to go along as well, leverage stuff like the spawn advantage, make sure that if you do trade, it's at least going to be in your favor. So third point Numbani, definitely a tough one to crack, and we have all doing it with a beautiful little bit of snowball action and a lot of aggression as well, just making sure that they can continually find these kills. Looks like they're trying to figure out exactly what they want to play. Monkey A teasing the Soldier 76 at least. He sort of ran out earlier, didn't sort of go their way. A bit of an older school strat if it does end up coming up, but might actually play into their favor, as it does look like Hugh's Money Crew are teasing with the pharmacy.
I mean, it sort of works out quite nicely for Mikey A then if he's on the soldier on the high ground, the cool guy, the best guy. It's all what soldiers like to do, is sit on the high ground and be cool. But whether it's going to make much worth, I suppose, even with the recent buffs to Soldier, remains to be seen. I'm interested to see the matchup between Zeal and Mikey A, both of which are British, so very exciting times for the country.
Yeah, I mean, we have two sort of young DPS players in this, with the names beginning with Zer, with Zergy and Zeal. Dive does go in, you see Mikey A and everyone sort of drop down to the low ground, throw down the heal field. Very much an older school strat, but it still certainly works. Zergy managing to get onto Mouse there, and that's going to put a bit of the kibosh on this first attack. You're seeing we have all just starting to roll their way forward. Might even trap Kolsky in there a little bit. You have to be careful they don't lose these tanks, and ultimate charge is still building up on this defensive side. That said, Barbecue actually gets onto Zergy. Now they're in a little bit of trouble. I've just overstayed their welcome slightly here. Zeal starting to push forward. Takes a huge amount of damage from Mikey A. Doing well on this hit scan hero.
Now the Beast is ready for Tri-Spear, the first person to build up their ultimate. Now Zeal starts to get picks and almost has a barrage ready too, so looks like Shoes Money Crew are going to be able to clear this one without even needing to dedicate some ultimates, which is a huge factor in the fact that they can use the now the boost on certain targets to be prepped for the next match. Cycle those compositions. Zeal right now is just free up in the air. Mikey A really struggling to get a grip of it.
Yeah, he's just pushing all the way forward, actually. You actually see Kolsky jumping in. That's a very risky jump there. Yeah, he just jumps straight pretty much into the spawn and gets taken down. Zeal quite wisely backing away. Has to be careful, taking a lot of damage from that Soldier 76. Was buffed recently to do a little bit more hit scan accuracy. Sort of has perfect accuracy on the first 9 shots rather than the rest of them. Izzy ends up going down as well. I think that was to a well-placed rocket flail, if I had to guess, because he has said nice shot in chat, so has it at least acknowledged that much. Zergy holding all the way to spawn here, trying to just bash people literally back into it, but Winston explodes his way out. Kolsky puts the pressure on, and he goes down as a result. Perhaps a little bit too far forward here.
A little bit of aggressive hold. Mikey A coming back onto the high ground, gets slept, and Shoes Money Crew and Zeal were able to take him out. So yeah, they managed to get this win and only dedicated, I believe, the barrage and a Valkyrie to it. But saying that, we have all didn't dedicate any ultimates, and they do have almost all 6 ready to go for this next engagement if they can get there. So it's how they use these ultimates that go through there. Just as an update, Angry Titans beat Hurricane 3-1 is the final score for that. So just wanted to update you on that. We will be seeing Angry Titans in the final.
Oh, huge EMP right as the team starts pushing out. Where is the follow-up is the big question that sort of naturally precedes that. They're not getting any kills out of it, actually. And now Mikey A brings out the sights. Has the nano visor. Is just drilling it down into the Winston. Zeal in the air just gets taken down as well. Soldier 76, pinpoint accuracy. Goes for the res. That's slightly bold, I would dare say. I think Izzy knew that his time was up there. Wants to just get back to spawn faster and launches into the visor's viewpoint. Mikey A actually going on a bit of a flank. He might be going to try and poke on the high ground. Nope. Rotates back to the safety of his team. But we have all, with an explosive hold, managing to keep safe for now.
About 3.5 minutes left for the push. For Shoes Money Crew to keep pushing on through. We've all doing a really good job. Now the Beast Reinhardt comes in, doesn't have the Earth Shatter, so a nice way for him to build it up, but he's just going to be kept at a distance. The other person that is willing to have that fight is Zergy, because Brigitte will fight anyone if you pay her enough money. But now the engagement comes in, Lucio brings out the sound barrier, and we have all gone very aggressive on this attack.
And again, I like seeing we have all go aggressive. That's it. Diva Bomb goes up and over the top, gets 3. That's absolutely huge from Barbecue. That might have just blown this point wide open for them. Huge Diva Bomb there. Just ran it along the side of the bus, basically, before letting it just surge right over. Gets himself a triple on the back of that one, and that is probably going to be enough to stop them even trying to contest this one. I don't think anyone can even make it there, so looking like they're preparing for the 3rd point. Looks like floats coming out on the defense where we have all.
I think Barbecue's Diva roll actually caught the perfect spot of being both outside and inside of the little hovel hole that you see people hiding. Hence why it took out teams that had a lot of time to get undercover, and Kara bringing up the speed boost at the right time. So there was no excuse really. It was just a really good Diva bomb that came out of Barbecue. But now we have Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, but Kolsky's well ahead in ult charge, and you can tell that confidence is there. As Chubbs goes down, Earthshatter will know that follow up if they want to use it, but they're already getting these picks without even needing to dedicate ultimates to it. Barbecue on a 15-player kill streak, my fire.
Yeah, Shoes Money Crew just marching their way forward there. I think what happened is Zergy, unfortunately, someone jumped in front of him. He was just trying to heal pack the Reinhardt. As a result, heal pack doesn't connect, and well, your Reinhardt ends up going down. That Brig Burst healing is so vital to time right, and now Shoes Money Crew in a really good position. It looks like they want to try and set up this Earth Shatter play. It looks like Kolsky is preparing for it. The projected barrier is gone. There's the stun. There's the follow-up. They managed to get both tanks at the very least. Discord Orb is on as well. Follow-up kill does come through. Chubbs ends up dropping down. Krems loses the mech. They do end up up trading Kolsky for it, but not before Tri-Spear getting a lot of damage. Mikey A gets solo grab. They've got to annihilate that threat. Got to make sure Mikey A can't build up another one of those crucial Graviton surges. Now it's just the support being very annoying on the point, but still stalling it up. Chubbs has had a chance to respawn here, rejoin his team. Might be able to stall this one out a little bit longer. And now that defender's advantage starting to tick in. Zergy swaps to the Tracer, gets back to the point that much faster, providing a lot of damage. Vegeta armor, though, starting to cause some problems. Tracer's DPS is going to fall off a cliff as he tries to contest it. Kanga comes out with the Transcendence. Going to continue to stall that little bit longer with Ultimates just coming up online now. Tri-Spear still in spawn with his Transcendence. Graviton Surge comes out. There's the threat Mikey A poses. Barbecue stuck inside that will get VMech as a result. Now it's looking pretty tough for She's Money Crew as the fight basically resets.
Tri-Spear has the Transcendence in case they would want to use it, and the Diva Bomb in the air does get a pick onto Izzy as Tri-Spear is touching the point with it, but the Graviton pulls everybody off, and Zergy and Kara just for a split second jump off of the point. So now She's Money Crew managed to finish with just a bit of a faster time, I think about 2.5 minutes in total. Yeah, literally. So now we got to see Weehabog having 1 minute to have a push to see how far they can get the point, and then we'll see She's Money Crew trying to follow it up. But they're in prime position to take this one, but again, not quite confirmed just yet. We saw exactly what happened on Route 66.
Okay, then this is sort of going to be probably the final pushes for these maps, to be honest with you. We are sort of rounding up towards the end of the tournament. Numbani starting to close out at the end. We have 1 minute left on this push for We Have Org. I want to see them play aggressively. They look so much better when they do play that high aggro style. Meanwhile, on the defense, looks like they are going back to the Pharaoh. Looks like they are going back to the pharmacy once more. It did work out quite well for them for a little while. A couple of clutch kills coming through onto Zeal and Izzy, finally putting sort of an end to their reign of terror in the skies. But without answering that threat, this could just be another first point hold. We'll see how it goes.
It's a long day. It has been a long day, and this is the final of the matches. It's the weird part of the night, even though it's probably midday in Numbani right now, or just before. Looking at the sky, it looks about like 11 a.m., 2 p.m. maybe. Trying to work out which way is east and west, to be honest. But this defense is looking standard again, coming at She's Money Crew, running the pharmacy combo, running a Sombra 2. Mikey A again on the hit scan, but this time on McCree instead of Soldier. So interested to see how they differ their strategy because of that.
Okay, it's time to roll their way forward, but this bar is just doing so much. Zeal already on 50% ultimate charge. He's running it onto the Vegeta. Zergy just inching his way forward towards the point. Winston going to push him back out there, but slowly but surely the Farah buff sort of making her that much better against these tanky pieces where she can start landing hits. She can basically generate that ultimate charge that much quicker. Lucio actually in a spot of trouble there. Kara goes for a bit of an aggressive boot to try and just lost some people from the high ground. Doesn't quite pay off for him, but Mikey A on the hit scan manages to take down Zeal. They're going to try and go for the rest of the supports are there. High Noon comes out. Can't quite see the Farah just yet. Anishi just bait him out. Doesn't manage to blow him away there. Zeal surviving. Now the Nano Boost goes onto the Farah. Zeal's turn to try and get a counter punch going for it. He's going to muscle his way in. Does have the barrage available to him, but he's going to obviously gets using it. Just uses it right into people's face, but just gets taken down straight away. Doesn't matter if you're Nano Boosted, love. You only got 200 hit points, and that's not going to last you.
And this defense just starts to fall apart a little bit. The point does get taken over, and it's overtime. There's no room for error now. We have Org, and you can tell that She's Money Crew are going to reconvene and regroup, try and work out how to use their abilities. They have Valkyrie to keep everybody up in that engagement, and Mars has an EMP that will clear the objective faster than you could say whatever it is the Sombra says, which he actually EMPs.
Okay, then let's see. We have all. They've got to play this out perfectly for now. Kara's just going to be waiting on the high ground, trying to play it safe, trying to make sure he's outside of Mauser's line of sight. It looks like he might just beat you. Yes, there it comes. Sound barrier manages to come out. Chubbs also activating that primal rage. Will get the bounce onto Kolsky. They do still get the res going, but this wasn't the result that EMP quite needed at the moment. Izzy going to try and keep people alive though. Has that Valkyrie active, but can't save Kolsky as he gets pushed into a corner and taken down. The target focus coming out of We Have Org is looking spectacular at the moment as they continue to find the kills. Mikey A really popping up on this hit scan on McCree, and it's looking good so far as We Have Org continue this push on Numbani.
We're trucking on ahead with a full team wipe, and they have a good amount of ultimates on this attack and not really much on this defense. Izzy changed it over to Lucio last second to boost everybody back into position. But there's so much on the side of We Have Org that can really blow this wide open, even with the fact that the payload is in overtime. Transcendence to keep everybody alive. Mikey A, the high noon to build some space, but it's all eaten by Barbecue.
Oh, nom, 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 nom. Barbecue manages to get absolutely everything with that. Is forced to cycle out the Diva Bomb at the very least. Won't probably translate into many kills, but will keep him involved in this crucial fight. Hammer down comes through, manages to get at least one. They're trying to get onto this area. It looks like Zergy actually gets picked up there. Kolsey with the heroic charge finds at least one, and now Mouse trying to stall out as he can on the point. It's just the old bruising twosome. Reinhardt and Brigitte managing to get onto Mikey A at the moment, and now it's just starting to smash back and forth. Rally comes out, and this is going to be difficult to deal with for Diva and Lucio, and they can't leave the point. Reinforcements now coming up from the sides of Choose Money Crew. They're going to be able to just hold this one a little bit longer, it seems, and Chubb's now in a lot of trouble. Krem team next as well, gets launched into the air. Oh, it looks like the Ice Shadow got stunned. Oh no, he doesn't have that crucial ultimate to turn the tide here. Kanga managing to get back here onto the Tracer. This is the support player, does survive for quite a while, but it looks like Choose Money Crew finished this out just before the end of second.
Morrison and Brigida was the difference there. Mikey A was doing so well at being able to get picks to the point that he almost has another high noon ready to go. It was on 98%. So was getting the picks that he needed, but just not fast enough to be able to completely clear the point. But that said, 2.5 second checkpoint. There seems to be a running theme across a lot of the teams here, just right before the second checkpoint. So it does leave a good margin for them to succeed in, but it does give we have Oregon opportunity to come back from this one and to tie the series up.
It would be nice for them. You know, they have been losing sort of throughout this tournament, so finishing it out with a draw here would feel pretty good, I imagine. Probably not what they were kind of hoping for coming into this one, but it definitely is going to be better than taking the W. And with, 2 minutes 26 left on the clock, it doesn't really matter anymore. That distance to cover is actually going to be difficult no matter what. They're basically going to be pushing into overtime. As long as the defense has any kind of sane hold, it's going to be very difficult for that clock to actually matter, basically. Looks like Zeal wants to stay playing this far. He's had a pretty good time of it so far, and it's been very difficult for the opponent to address. We have Org. Looks like they're not even going to have any options to really deal with it. They've sort of been relying on Mikey's hit scan to handle it. Now they're going to have to rely on Mikey's hacks. If you can get one, then that's great, but it's a very, very difficult thing to do.
One of the more difficult heroes to play because of that reason. So is Doomfist. I don't know. Would you consider Doomfist a hard hero to play or just a no-brainer kind of hero?
At this level, I consider him a pretty hard level to play. Like, one mistake and you are done. You're finished.
But in like Diamond and Master, anyone can...
Yeah, it's very difficult to punish him at lower levels. That much is for sure. Meanwhile, though, we again see a very aggressive start out of We Have Org. I love seeing this out of these guys. They look so much better when playing aggressively. Looks like Zergy is getting into the backline a little bit. Has to bounce all the way out. Will get back to safety. And now it's the turn of Choose Money Crew. They find Zergy, just dive him out there with the tanks. Barbecue getting right onto him there. Just drills him down with the rockets from Diva. Now Zeal high in the sky as well, just causing problems, just keeping Anna pinned back. She doesn't have any ability to now provide support on the point. Farah just causing some problems there. Looks like though Chubbs manages to get Izzy, traps him into the low ground. As a result, this Farah no longer has a mercy in support, is much more vulnerable as a result. Has built Barrage, but might not use it. It looks like they're just going to dunk it though right on top of Kanga and Krems. They didn't see that maneuver coming, and as a result, things are looking a little bit dire. Mikey A though, crucially with that hit scan, might just turn it around for his team here. Goes for the EMP, gets the kill onto the Farah, and he's absolutely playing out of his mind here. It's now 1 minute 15 left on the clock.
Some really solid play actually coming out of Kanga, who last second before he died, he donated his nano boost to Chubbs, who was able to sort of stay on the point. Because of that as well, Kara was able to get the sand barrier and not required to use it. So on this defense, they have a good amount of ultimates, and Kara tried to play away from his team. Why? Because he knows that Mors is ready for the EMP and just wants to make sure that he's close enough to his team that he can help them, but not too close that he gets hacked too. So needs to be careful. Nice boof onto Kolsky to knock him away from the high ground onto the low ground, and is well away from the EMP that he can lose your booster.
With that Tracer as well, like the damage coming out of this hero is huge. Zergy just literally runs down onto Zeal, and nano boosted Brigitte doesn't care and punches her in the face to get the takeout. That was quite a brave move to behold, but manages to do it. And like the combination of Zergy and Mikey A playing this into a Brigitte, that's bold, but they managed to get past the rally, and now there's only 20 seconds left on the clock. Something huge has to come out of Choose Money Crew here.
And it's really well played from We Have Org that have turned this around again with another solid defense. There's only 13 seconds left on the clock. Are even Choose Money Crew going to be able to even touch the point? They're trying to go low ground, as you can see, but if they spot them out, Karen knew that they were there, maybe throwing a grenade and try and get a pick. But again, the payload and objective is starting to tick up in favour of the attacking team.
Pulse Bomb not unfortunately finding the mark, and Kangaganga goes down very early. That's a Nano Boost, not going to be involved in the fight, and they really kind of need that resource to help them out. Colsty, though, comes up huge with the Primarite. It looks like they will just finish this one out, but now we're in full time, overtime pushes. They've got to make sure that this is absolutely perfect, and if they leave it for a split second, well, it's all over.
That's why we have just completely disengaged from this fight. Didn't even bother. They lost a couple of people, and they're like, right, just leave it. Because they have ultimates ready. They're going to switch over Chubbs and Zergy. Maybe get Graviton in that time, but we are in overtime. No margin for error at all for the attacking team of Shoes Money crew. But really well played to alienate Kanga, so he couldn't get the Nano Boost in. Primal Rage, and I think it was a whip shot from the Brigitte that knocked him away and isolated him. But Morse getting picked onto Mikey H requires them to just wait a little bit longer.
Tries there with a hero sleep dart, actually catches Mikey A there. He was trying to sort of get ready for his EMP. Mostly just shooting into a barrier. Sleep Dart just clips him, and as a result, they managed to get a kill on a crucial player right before a major engagement. They had to completely disengage. They got away from Mikey A to come out, and now this is going to be a fight literally over the last possible moment. This is going to be the last fight of the tournament, ladies and gentlemen. As Chubbs goes in with the Nano Boost, goes straight into the back lines. A little bit unsupported there. Anna comes down nice and early. High Noon comes out from Maz. There's the EMP, though, just to cancel things out. Might set up the Steamer Bomb to be huge. Does blow away, but no! They get away from the point. It blows them off the point, and we have all end up tying up the series.
Just that one little boop in the Diva Bomb to make some space. Really well played from Carrot there, actually, to just keep themselves alive. Chaotic fight, and it does look, well, it is the case that we have all managed to tie this up. Considering they looked so poor on the first two maps, they were able to come in, and this was that Diva Bomb from Barbecue, and you can see how perfectly it landed. But yeah, both teams managing to sort of turn it around. Both teams looking very different from both sides of the coin there, from the middle break that we had in